Okay, let's keep going. This buzzword, inflammation, I think it hit Newsweek magazine and Time magazine. It must have been, it was about 6 years ago. Do you remember when that hit? And it's like, okay, now we're on to this whole idea of inflammation. That it appears that the big undertaker that's taken us out, bad problems with the ankles, hips, chronic inflammation, injury, trauma that never goes away, that it's something to do with this inflammation, which just keeps producing an immune response that evolves into constant and chronic pain. Now, I sat down with Clint last night. He said there is no inflammation in nature. It can't exist. That inflammation is a response that's a free radical response, and normally you're touching the ground. Immediately, the electricity of the earth neutralizes all the free radical damage, and you can have no inflammation. Yep, you know where this goes pretty darn quick. It's because we're going to see it. Because there's some folks here who have been in pain for a while, and we're going to see how quickly they go out of pain. There's Time Magazine 2004, so that's 6 years ago, 7 years ago, basically. This is what's been attributed to all this inflammation, all the different conditions, chronic this, chronic that, chronic neck pain. I know there's a lot of people who won't admit it, but who will admit neck pain? Okay, who won't admit anything no matter what I say? Who here will never raise their hand no matter what? Okay, good. Look at it. Look at the list. The relationship between osteoporosis and grounding will be explored, and it's a big one. The relationship between all the different conditions. MS, there was a woman called the other day, what was her issue? It wasn't MS, it was fibromyalgia. Is that on the list? I mean, these are issues that are related to having electricity problems. And it's the shoe, the rubber-soled shoe is a big factor in this. And then also buildings, first floor, second floor, third floor, fourth floor, fifth, you know what I'm going here to here? 30th floor. That we are so high up in the atmosphere, big problems can develop. 40% more strokes on the second floor than the first floor. Just two-story house. Because there's a voltage change as you go higher up in the atmosphere. The higher up you are with no ground to connect you to the earth, the more troubles will arise and the faster, and the worse the inflammation will be. Okay, so this is what we're hearing. This is in the media. You've seen it. Chronic inflammation, that's the engine that is really creating this, the aging. It's really associated with aging. I want to put this up here because when you ground yourself, as you've done, there is an instantaneous change in your skin conductance. It's instantaneous. So let's say somebody has a skin issue. What do those look like? Let's name some. Psoriasis. What else? Right? Yep, dermatitis. Yep, seborrhea. You got it. Acne. Rosacea, hives. So all of this stuff is improved immediately, instantly when you ground. It's instantaneous. There's the chart right there. That you can see where it happens. I'm going to point it out. So right there is the moment of grounding. Look at the change. Boom, boom, instant. You can see it over here, folks, if you're on this side. Boom, the instant you ground, your skin conductance changes. That then cascades deeper and deeper. And just from my own research on looking at all the studies that Clint's given me over the years, is I've been able to see that it takes about 10 minutes for the other things to start coming in. Because our body's gated. Do you know what I mean by that? It's like we're in a gated community. All those electrons just can't charge in and vandalize the place. Right? Our body's like, okay, hold on. You're going to go through gate 1, skin first. Then deeper, second, muscle tissue. Then it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And eventually, if you're paying attention, it starts getting to those deep-seated issues in our organs, in those places deep inside our tissue where there can be positive charges or deficiency of charges, which may be called things like tumors. Excessive growth. Excessive growth. So we're starting to see, we're starting to see a relationship between our body's ability to inhibit excessive growth. What's that? I mean, I was just reading up on ovarian cysts. Ovarian cysts come and go with what? Hormone cycles. If the hormone cycle is way out of balance, the grandfather clock is suddenly 30 minutes behind, then all of a sudden a cyst can grow out of control. And the body can't draw it back again because the circadian rhythms are out of balance. What happens then? Well, then we start to develop such large growths that I remember a young girl that I went to school with, she had a gigantic grapefruit-sized cyst removed from her body because her body couldn't bring it back, couldn't reabsorb it because of the circadian rhythm issues. How do we keep that in balance? Just simply walking barefoot, touching the earth, connecting to the earth. There's a revolution coming in homes, the way we construct homes, what's happening on our first floor, the way that yoga studios are constructed. It was given to me, the first yoga mat that's grounded. You can't believe it. There's no way I can use anything else now. A grounded yoga mat. All right, now here's what we're going to find out, because we've got our group here. How's your fingers doing? You guys get pricked a little bit there? So we got the blood sample. That's good. Here's what we're going to see in their blood. Here's what's been researched. Gaetano's going to be here. He's the scientist behind this. Pre-grounding, we see the clumping. Post-grounding, instant change of the charge on every cell. The cell is electrical, not chemical. The cell is electrical, not chemical. And therefore, as soon as the electrons are available, boom, the charge comes onto the cell, and it's able to produce a zeta potential, which keeps every cell bouncing off of every other cell, but not clumping with every other cell. The clumping is electroplating. It means that there's a deficiency of electrons. Everybody's trying to get together to try to get the oxygen or to get wherever the charge is. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like, if we weren't all grounded, we'd all be touching each other and clustering up next to each other to try to get to the person who is grounded. So it's like, oh, we want what you got. And that's kind of what happens to our blood. My opinion about this is that this is going to lead to a dramatic change in our longevity. You can see it. It's pretty obvious. This is great. I was with my friend John Butcher, who's friends with our crew over here, down in Indonesia. And one of the things that you see in Indonesia is you see people who are 70 years old and they're cut and ripped. I mean, they're like ripped. Like, you look at their stomach, you're like, that dude's like 70. What? And it's like, okay. And so this had John just completely baffled. He's like, what is the story? He's like, what is this? And I said, these guys barefoot. It's because they're barefoot. They're barefoot every day. They don't wear shoes down there. If they wear shoes, it's on a street, it's a flip-flop. And even then, they're grabbing their plants, they're doing things in the earth, they're touching the earth. And so over a period of your lifetime, what ends up happening is your circadian rhythms, your overall metabolism, the structure of your body, everything's completely different. Isn't that the best news ever? This is the best news ever this weekend. Isn't that great? It's the best news ever. And what I love about it, it's instantly available to everyone all over the planet just like that. It's just an awareness, isn't it? And that's what's been gifted to me, because I spent 15 years trying to get people to do wheatgrass enemas. There are only certain people who are going to do that. How many people will do a wheatgrass enema? Man, that's the largest number I've ever seen. How many people won't? Check out these images. Let's look at this. There's another one. Right? This is what we're going to see right here. It's solid science. We know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen to you guys.